Hi everybody, it's Dominish and Jamie with Hometown History, and we are having our extra episode, an interview with Abby Teaford and Raine Dawn, so thanks for being with us. So why don't we start with Raine Dawn? Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Turtle Mountain Chippewa, Native American from North Dakota. I'm an enrolled member of my tribe. My reservation is in, it's about 20 minutes from Canada, so it's very, very North Dakota. My mom grew up on a reservation. She's one of 14, and then she went to her boarding school, as did all of my aunts and uncles. And then after she graduated, she went to barber school and then met my dad in Colorado. And then I came to Florida. Then I moved to Maryland because my dad's from Maryland.
Oh, okay.
So, I grew up in Maryland a lot, and most of the time we drove back to North Dakota a lot and visited the reservation. And lived like in, I'd say, Americanized Native culture, because it wasn't like my cousins who grew up on the reservation. And but it was like my dad had John Wayne photos hanging on the wall, like a princess, Native American woman, and things like that. So it was in there visually through the arts, but not culturally through teachings of Black culture.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you more about your art, because I think it's just fascinating. And Abby, you work for the Zimmerman Center?
Yes. So I work for our nonprofit that runs the Zimmerman Center, Susquehanna National Heritage Area.
And you've been here for 4 years.
Yes.
And you helped us out so much during our main bar episode. Thank you for being our in-house expert today.
No worries. And I laugh when you say expert. We're always learning something new, and I'm happy to share it.
What would you say is, if there was one story that Dami and I missed, what's something that we should have included in our presentation?
It's it's a tough question because there are so many stories that we don't know of the people that lived here so long ago, I love that you shared about the height of these people and their impression, Captain John Smith's impression when he meets these men. I think what I would add is the stories of descendants, and it's been wonderful. We recently, our nonprofit, got a grant from the National Park Service Foundation to produce videos, one of which you just saw, in interviewing descendants of the Susquehanna and Native American people. And through that and talking with them, I would say, and one thing that you reiterated was that they're still here. And that's one thing, if you Google Susquehanna, you're going to see it says that they're extinct, and they're not. So often when you Google and research, and our Susquehanna Gallery in Susquehanna National Heritage Zimmerman Center here, you see that we have a whole wall panel dedicated to descendants, because there are many ways that heritage has been passed down. Of course, some of that culture has been lost due to the struggles that they faced over their lifetime living here, of massacres and violence and sickness and disease that they faced. But there are people that have this heritage today, and so I definitely recommend visiting here to hear more of those stories, I would say.
Raine Dawn, would you like to comment?
That's so great. That's awesome. So I went into the things that make me right away, but I'm an art educator and an artist as well, so I didn't really talk about me, who I am right now. So I really resonate with that, bringing in stories from descendants, and the artwork that's in here is just really, really interesting, the stories that are with them, all the things. So it's really exciting. I've never been before, so you should come visit.
So Raine Dawn, you brought your artwork.
I brought it.
Hey, hon, can you grab that? Do you mind if we send the buffalo?
Yeah.
Thank you. So could you tell us about maybe this piece or a piece of your art and your inspiration?
Yeah, I brought this one on purpose because it kind of sums up my thesis on life, right?
We're just going to model the painting for us. Thank you. Let me see if I can make sure people can see it.
So this is called Hope. A lot of my work has indigenous teachings in it from my culture, and this one represents a Lakota prophecy of the white buffalo calf woman. And what I took, the biggest thing I took from that prophecy is that she prophesies that one day we'll remember we're all connected, and that we are all connected to this greater source, and that what we do affects everyone around us and 7 generations out. So we're affecting our grandchildren, and our great-grandparents affected us. And once we have that realization that we're all connected, I really feel like things will shift in the way that we treat each other on this earth, and how we can live in harmony with the earth and each other. Because then we realize like the ultimate respect is to know that you and I are connected in this. What I do affects you, and what you do affects me. And if you really have that understanding that we're all in this together, right, then you wouldn't treat each other that way, or some ways, right? And we would work together to figure out how to solve problems and, how to communicate with each other. And so that's my goal as an educator and as an artist, is to share stories so that we can get to know each other again and remember that we're connected.
And if someone wanted to purchase your art, where could they go?
So I have a Facebook page and a website, and a link tree. I don't know, I can give those
We can
to
link
you.
it up.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll put it on the video.
Yeah, and then I also have on my link tree, my social media, and my Etsy and things. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Raine Dawn, I'll ask you this question, and then Abby, I'm hoping you can answer it as well. So one of the things that Domi and I were very careful about when crafting tonight's story is to recognize the very real and still present day trauma that happened to Native American art history, but not let that be the simple story. It seems to be very negative. And so we made sure that we talked about the culture and the people and as much as we could about their lives. So what are your thoughts on popular culture and how it depicts Native American today and historically?
I feel like I can't speak to that. I feel like that's a great discussion.
So I think this is going to come from a totally different point of view. I start with the perspective that we are all connected. And so if I go into the stories and the rabbit hole of pop culture and cultural appropriation and did you call me the right thing, or did you see me the right way, or then I'm really like doing the opposite of what we should be doing. Like I am creating that separation between us by allowing that to bother me, so to speak, right? And I do understand that there was a lot of trauma my mother and my ancestors went through. But when you can realize, like with a grateful heart, right, I wouldn't be me where I'm not right now without the things that my parents and my grandparents and my ancestors had to go through. And because of that, because of their thriving through things and pushing to survive and be alive, I get to be here. So I start out grateful, and those things I don't want to pay attention to that in that way. I don't want to put energy into that. I want to lead with that we should all, the goal is that we need to remember we're connected, so that we start treating each other with that ultimate respect, humility, bravery, love, honesty, in a wise way.
We did not give her these questions in advance, so thank you for your candor. Yeah, it is. I mean, you clearly live by that. If you're able to speak off the cuff so quickly, that's great. Abby, if people were to come to the Zimmerman Center, what is like the one artifact or the one painting or the one exhibit? Like, where should they stop? What should they look at?
Oh, it's that's a difficult question. And one of the things I love about the work that we do is that we have our gallery that is that's dedicated to the Susquehanna people, but there are also some amazing places, in our heritage area, York and Lancaster County, to visit. that share these stories. There's Indian Steps Museum, there's Blue Rock Heritage Center, there's the 1719 Alms Her House where you can walk inside a longhouse. We have all these places that tell parts of the story of these people, and we're in their homelands. And I think, for our center here, I love the painting that we have here that's currently on loan. So there's a copy there. I love the Carol Oldenburg painting that you went through. That painting, in comparison, I love to our other painting that shows the two men on the rock, the Algonquin people, making those rock carvings on our stretch of river. And those two groups of people here is what I think I hope that this place honors them, and the fact that we're in their homeland, and that we're very close to where Susquehanna communities work, I think fulfills our mission here. And those two paintings, how they connect with one another of these two different groups of people is what I like to point out when people visit here.
Before we take questions from the audience, is there anything else? Any other stories or?
Okay, so while you guys are doing the presentation, so the Algonquin people are it's the language that the people use. So all of the different nations, like the Iroquois and other nations, were Algonquin because they all use the similar language, the Algonquin language. And the Anishinaabe, which is where the Chippewa, Ojibwe, Cree come from, and the Algonquin people come from the Anishinaabe. And Anishinaabe means the original people, and the Anishinaabe started northeastern Canada area and migrated through the Great Lakes, and then even down, which as I'm learning more about my culture on my own, like researching things, seeing maps of how they migrated down and came even into the Chesapeake Bay. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been so in love and drawn to the Susquehanna. Like living in Maryland, we lived in Harford County, so we lived on the Susquehanna in Maryland. And then we moved to Pennsylvania to get away from all the building and have land. So just being next to the river, I just feel like I want to be in a canoe. Like I can feel that. And I just think it's so interesting that my tribe migrated west, the furthest west, but then I ended up here in Pennsylvania, and there's a connection, through that. I just think it's so cool.
Yeah.
I want to share that.
Yeah, I think a great story. I mean, I think the river is life, and it's so beautiful, and so I can see why. I mean, if you were to count how many pieces of art in here have the river in it, I guess it's probably about 90% of the art in here has the river in it. Yeah, so you're not alone. Great. Do we have any questions that you'd like to ask Raine Dawn or Abby?
You guys did such a good job. No one even has to.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.